Good morning. Welcome to May 14th County Commission meeting. We'll start the meeting off with a pledge, and Melanie, would you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's get started here. Mr. Young.
Have the bills or exonerations. And I was gonna ask, there was a refund request for the last meeting. Did you guys make it?
Have it here.
Okay,
What's the other refund?
Okay.
I move that we approve the exonerations as presented.
Let me look at it here. Thank you. If there's anything.
guys, let me, while you're doing it,
Go ahead.
there's been an uptick in exonerations, and the biggest reason is, and it's not a bad thing, by the way, but the biggest reason is when we're that company that's sending out those delinquent tax letters. That's bringing people out of the woodwork, so we're exonerating tickets that are 5 years old or something like that, and we're gonna get paid anyway.
Okay,
But we got to do an exoneration to get them off, from Terry's books.
okay.
Second the motion.
Okay, we've got a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye. I'll move that we approve payroll.
Well, you have.
16.
We have refunds. We got
Oh, we
refund-
have-
we got
what do we
refund.
have?
Yeah, like,
We had two orders,
Yes, sir.
well, the one of them's a new one.
and one was one from last week that we didn't, or last
Yeah.
week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so this one right here.
Where
is
are
the
they
new
on
one.
the agenda?
They're with the refunds, and then refund.
Okay, so we have refunds.
Yep.
You've looked at these refunds?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I calculated.
All the supporting documentation was in with our packet.
So it's just these two that are on the
Yes.
sheet here? Okay, well, I move that we approve the refunds in the amount of $1,912.28 to Alicia Humphrey. It was double assessed.
Second.
A motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
So you have an order from the last one, the Christmas Smith one, and then an order for Felicia.
Okay, we already approved the other one, so we just need to sign these.
Okay, yeah, see. All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I move that we approve payroll 516.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve payroll for 516. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ruth, we're not meeting again until the 11th. Are there any other payrolls that?
There are two payrolls, two more after this anyway.
Okay,
Do we have to approve them now?
I mean, you probably should unless you're gonna meet again.
Or people don't want paid, right?
Would you know what the dates are by any chance?
Getting my calendar. The 16th, no, what's today, the 16th?
Yeah.
There's one more, sorry.
No, today's the
30th.
14th.
It's the middle of the month.
The 30th, so I move that we approve payroll for May 30th.
Second the motion.
motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
What, 2 weeks
I
behind?
move that we approve the meeting minutes for April 30th.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Did we have a state settlement? I didn't see it.
Yes.
We did.
Well, they're not, maybe on your.
Oh,
Yeah. Please.
You can already look at these. They're in your packet.
No, yeah, Yeah, I'm good.
I move that we approve the state settlements.
Second.
Got a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
So the first thing on your exhibit list is a delinquent tax list presentation. Here's your bill.
Good morning.
The delinquent list that we have sent to, take reviewing to be public. 22nd, the newspaper, so I didn't need to.
Okay. I move that we approve the list for publication.
Second.
We actually have, this year we have 203 pages of delinquent real estate and personal property, and last year we had 247, so we have a list this year.
That's an improvement. Awesome. Thank
Have a
you.
motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You may just leave it.
Ruth.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
The next item is that letter you guys approved. Mountain Heart, you just need to approve it.
We often have support letters that need to be approved in a timely fashion, so we coordinate it for objections and there were none. So I move that we approve the support letter for Mountain Heart and Uncle Proton.
Second the motion.
Have a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the next, I forwarded you guys this email about GoRail. Are
Yeah.
you familiar, John?
Yes, we have given them support letters the time that I've been here. It's a good project. We need to continue to support it.
What is it?
They want Congress to consider increasing funding for at-grade crossing projects and public infrastructure programs, prioritizing safety and innovation, ensuring sustainable long-term funding for the highway trust funds, and expanding opportunities for state and local governments to partner with freight and passenger rail.
Okay.
I actually met those people when we were doing the Prince project several years ago.
Oh, okay. That's not familiar to me. All right. Well, I move that we approve the support letter for GoRail.
I'll second. Motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm assuming you. He gave like a.
Yes.
Okay, the EMPG grant application, this is for fiscal year 2023. It reimburses, I think 50% of the OEM's salary.
Mhm.
So this is just your, basically saying you won't lobby. Is one of the documents. And then the other one is like a federal contractor thing.
We can't lobby anyway.
Yeah.
I move that we approve it's a grant, right, or grant application?
Yeah, it's a grant application for reimbursement.
The grant application.
How much is the grant?
MPG,
It'll, yeah, usually,
about 50% of Jack's salary.
I mean, it would have been 2023, so whatever it was then. It's just a reimbursement, it's already been spent.
I second the motion.
Motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
The law clinic agreement, I had Michael look at that yesterday. The WVU law clinic agreement,
For the plan,
yeah, for the.
is it, I
Update.
thought we had already. entered
You
into-
didn't sign you approved it, but you didn't sign the agreement, that's the actual agreement.
Okay.
The old agreement was out of date,
Mhm.
so we had. to
Oh,
get
right,
the new
right,
agreement
right.
in.
We asked him to update it. Well, we already approved it, so I think you can just sign it.
Mhm.
Number 6 was your request, Allison.
Yeah, did he send in the email though, Joey? Let me look. Basically, Kanawha Falls, and I can't remember what they had allocated this money for. But we had authorized some ARPA funds. I hope I can find this. No, there it is, just. For a specific purpose that Jonathan and Joey think is no longer, or should no longer be a priority given the hearings we've been having on the sale of the PSD, and it's, the amount is $12,000. I can't remember what it was allocated for, but their approach The request is to be able to allocate it toward the temporary fix at Camilton Hollow. And along those lines, when I met with Jenna Belcher last week about that issue, she had thought the funding we needed was for technical assistance. And that's when she had offered $60,000. When she learned that it was for actual implementation, she said the only funds she has available are $30,000. And of course, we know we allocated about 40. So if Kanawha Falls were to apply, 10 of it's 12, and NRGRDA were to give us the grant of 30, that would cover the allocation we voted on last meeting. So I'd like to move that we approve Kanawha Falls' request to reallocate those ARPA funds toward the temporary fix at Cannleton. Based on what I just said.
I'll second it.
Motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, did you guys have a chance to talk with the candidates for the New Haven PSD board vacancy? We discussed that 2
I
weeks
didn't
ago.
talk with
during the
every,
meeting.
I mean, I reviewed their applications, but I didn't speak with them. I
I
didn't,
haven't spoken with them either.
but
We met one young lady, didn't we, last meeting?
yes, she came in.
Mhm.
Miss Queen, was her name?
Yes.
Yes,
And I
We spoke with
know
her.
her family. Her husband. But. Anyway, well, she's my preference. I think they were both the applicants looked very well qualified. But I like that, Miss Queen is involved in other things like the North of the Bridge project, and she's a local business owner and has a stake in, you know, getting infrastructure to that area, which is what we're trying to do. I think she'll work hard toward it. She already shows that she volunteers, and that's important to her.
I agree.
So I move that we appoint Lisa Queen to the New Haven PSD vacancy.
Second.
have a motion second on the floor. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, the Kanawha Falls PSD board vacancy. I have yesterday during the meeting, you both heard me ask for applicants. Right now we have one, and I believe there's conflict with that one, so we'll wait until we see if we get any more applicants. If not, we'll discuss the conflict in an executive meeting.
I want to know about the conflict, but don't we have to go into executive session over the jail?
Yeah.
Can we discuss it then?
You can
Yeah.
discuss it.
Okay. All right, so, yeah.
Not that we're going to jail, okay?
Put that up.
Just want to clear that.
Over the
Why are
county
you
jail,
smiling,
Fayette
Brian?
County Jail.
Do you not see this?
Oh, yeah, they sure are. My goodness. We have 2 7s and 2 8s.
We sure do.
Oh.
So those last 4 items are all legal advice, so.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, where's our agenda? Let me see what's,
Dawn, there is a Diana Kincaid from New Haven PSD would like to speak. She's on Zoom.
okay. Well, we have do we have to do yours exactly at 9:15?
The ad said or soon thereafter, so I mean, it covers a few minutes.
Okay, Diana, it'll have to be really quick.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
I'm opposed to the person that you appointed due to the fact that it was brought to my attention at a meeting with Andrew Small for an agenda, to make an agenda, and he brought this lady back 2 months ago, and it was told that she would be the new board member. I don't think that they are being fair to the other applicants that applied, one being Peggy Harper and Cindy Bennett. Those people are also very involved in the community. And I think you should, or I'm asking y'all to please consider one of those applicants as a member of the board to help the people across on the north side, because they are involved in the community. They know the people's wants and they hear them, and that's my stand.
Small.
Never
I
met.
mean,
Small,
Andrew
he's-
Small doesn't speak for the Fayette County Commission. I don't even know who he is. So if he was.
He's the interim chairman.
Okay, well, he wasn't introducing her on behalf of us. Cause I haven't had a single conversation with him.
Okay, do they not consider the board members of the PSD as far as recommendations? I know that they did the last time for the last board member that was appointed. And
If they show up to the meeting,
so if they would have showed,
letter or express interest, we consider it, but we don't reach out to them unless, other than advise them that we're hearing it on the meeting.
oh, the applications don't play a part.
The applications do play a part.
Oh,
We
okay.
read the applications. I mean, I read the applications.
Oh, okay. So that's just the way it's gonna be.
Well, that was my decision based on reading the applications and my knowledge of the individual applicants.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Your turn.
So the applicant unfortunately had a little water trouble this morning, but I believe he might be on the.
It's partisan, and it may be a phone number like 386.
He's got his name.
He's on.
Okay,
John Hardison.
Don Marks, yes. You guys should have pictures. The planning commission met, on May 5th, and, we do have copies of the minutes, but, Mr. Willis motion to approve. His only comment was that everybody worked together, with his plan. He had a plan of a possible pond. And then Mr. Tucker did second, and it was all in favor. If you guys have any questions, he basically wants to, now it is rural agriculture now, and he is wanting to have B3 tourism because of the fact that he wants to have glamping tents. But he is on, there's a picture of his property. You guys also should have a copy of that, but he is on if you guys have any questions.
And this is going to be an agritourism site.
Yes.
To your knowledge, is anyone opposing this?
So they did have a couple of neighbors that come to the meeting. They had some concerns, but he addressed those concerns for them. So everybody at the end of the meeting seemed to be satisfied with the concerns, so.
Is there anybody here on Zoom who opposes this application?
Mr. Hardison, while we're waiting on that, do you already have fruit trees on your property?
None that we have planted yet, no.
And what type of fruit trees are you looking to plant?
I will defer to my wife, Ina, for the record, Ina Hardison.
Mostly native, dwarf. I want to plant some North Star cherries. I want to plant some apple trees. I want to plant some wild plums, basically wild plum hybrids. I do seem to have some of those on the property already, and we do have some wild cherries at the moment. That's all I could identify. So as far as that goes, I want to keep it pretty simple, but I don't want them to overcrowd the rest of it's very wooded where I am, and we're not trying to take out any trees that we don't have to. So it's going to be sparse as far as fruit trees go, but I do have a whole bunch of wild berries already, and I'm going to keep doing hedges of those to expand that for foraging.
Okay, and according to the letter, if I read it correct, you guys have already done this to other properties, but in a much larger scale?
I'm sorry, we didn't quite get that.
If I read this correctly, you guys have already done this type of turnover on other properties other than a larger scale?
No.
Okay,
This is our first rural endeavor. We have worked in this. We've done Airbnbs before, or STRs before, for 4 years in Detroit, and then for many years in Florida. But this is a completely new thing.
and you talked about domes.
Yes.
Can you explain the dome? I mean, is it a tent or is it an actual fiberglass structure?
So what they are is they are frameless polycarbonate structures. So for the space that the material occupies, it's stronger than steel. They're transparent. The idea is basically the utility is similar to that of a tent. But what we wanted was something that was had less visual impact on the land, and gave the occupant the ability to basically sleep under the stars, if that makes any sense. So that's what these
But
are.
with climate controls.
Yeah, yeah. We're not asking anyone to, the needle we're trying to thread is basically go camping without loss of the standard sort of amenities that tend to keep people from going camping.
Okay, and each of these domes will have its own bathroom, or will the bathroom be outside the trees?
Nope, the domes will all have their own bathrooms, a small kitchenette, electricity, and that's sort of the point. Is that you'll walk in and turn on a light switch like you would in any normal home. You'll be able to flush a toilet like you will in any of, in a normal home, but you will be in the thicket.
They need building.
Okay, and what about your wastewater collection system?
That is already sort of designed and agreed upon with the health department. So we're still working on that. The actual application hasn't been submitted, but everybody knows exactly what we're shooting for, and so far we've been in line. So the moment
We're doing a standard infiltrator, septic splitting between two structures, with whatever number of feet of chamber that, the health department person recommended, so we're sticking to that, but it's gonna be pretty standard.
Okay, and have you met with our WVU extension agent, Brian
We
Sparks?
have not.
Okay, I would suggest giving him a call. He could assist you on some things, some plants or fruit trees or things that may grow into this area.
Thank you. Sincerely
welcome.
appreciate that.
And they have great staff over there.
Yeah.
All right, any questions from you folks?
No, they seem to have covered their bases. And all of these neighbors have been notified properly?
Got certified.
Right, good deal.
You're saying,
Did they all? That's the list of everybody.
All right. I have no question.
well, I knew that we uphold the planning commission's recommendation.
I second this.
Okay, we have proper move and seconded motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Good luck.
Thank you very, very
Thank you.
much.
Okay, speaking of WVU Extension Services, Brian. Perfect timing, by the way. These next two presentations, I have asked these folks to come in because I want to say it's been 7 years since you guys presented what is offered between you and Active Southern West Virginia. And our citizens need to know what's available. It's a lot of great programs.
I think it's more like 4, because they came in right when I started.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, Lauren,
Oh, Lauren came in, but
Yeah.
that was a different,
was it a different
yeah, that
purpose?
was a different thing.
Because I remember she was educating me.
Hey,
on
Gail.
stuff, yeah.
So, good morning, Commission. I'm Brian Sparks with WVU Extension, and I work with the agriculture and natural resource portion of the Extension Service. And today I also have J.R. Davis, who is our 4-H and youth development agent. And so I kind of, if this is okay, I'll kind of give you a background of WVU Extension. Is that all right to kind of bring us up to where we're at? West Virginia University is a land grant institute. And so in that, what it means is that they have a commitment to the citizens of West Virginia. And so that's where the Extension Service comes in to play. And so their duty is to partner with the communities in West Virginia. And we do that through the county commission is a partner with us, and the Board of Education is a partner. And so our sole job is to try to take resources out of the university through the educational process and service process and research process and implement them into Fayette County. And we have counterparts all over. And so our funding bodies are the WVU Extension Service, the Fayette County Commission, and the Board of Education through the levy. And so I just kind of wanted to give you that background of where we're at. And so we have divisions of agriculture, natural resource, 4-H and youth development. We have community and health. And those are our three main divisions that we work out of. And so Lauren could not be here today. She is at a training right now, you know, sprucing up her skills. And so the first thing that I gave you is a financial value statement that we put together here for Fayette County. And so we looked at if you look at the first part, our salaries and fringes that come into WVU, and then our grant supported staff that we have, who is Nicole Mitchell. She's in the schools every day teaching nutrition to the kids, healthy eating, healthy habits, healthy living, and our support that we get out of the university. And so if we look out there, what 4-H brings in, what I brought in as ag, and then what Lauren brought in through families and consumer development, families and community development, we bring in about $908,000 to Fayette County. Now that's with Lauren and I being part-time. So we work half-time in Nicholas and half-time in Fayette. JR is our full person here. And so I'm kind of going to start with some programs that we do. So on the next page is kind of my wheelhouse, agriculture and natural resource. And so some things that we provide is we provide soil testing for the county for people to look at improving their soils, whether it's for their lawns, establishing an orchard, gardens, meadows, and pasture lands. And then we can identify plant and diseases through our lab to help people if they have a problem, kind of get a herbicide or an insecticide or a fungicide to fix that problem. And so the other thing we do is we do some youth development. And so along with JR, one thing that we're concerned about in America, and we've taken a role here in West Virginia, is we're worried about our future food production. And that's, believe it or not, that's kind of a scary subject. So what JR and I have teamed up to do is we work with every fourth grader, along with the Fayette County Farm Bureau, and we go in and teach a session on agriculture in West Virginia. So to make it fun for the kids, then we get a competition going as far as art. And so, you know, these are all the fourth graders in the counties, and we have them do a poster of what they think agriculture in West Virginia is. And so, you know, these are some examples of some of them for some of you folks that are here. And, you know, so they're picking it up. They know about fruit production. They know about vegetable production, and of course, livestock production, egg production. And so they're getting it. And so what we try to do with this is hopefully these kids, you know, like I tell them, 1 out of 6 individuals is involved in food production. Now, they may be, or in agriculture in some form, they may be a chemist somewhere, they may be growing the food, they may be cooking the food, but we want to get them thinking about that, because we think about it, we've all kind of just took it for granted how important food is. So that's one thing we've worked with. The next is my New River Master Gardeners, and I want to mention those really quick. Just to kind of give you an idea of what this group does. We train them for 40 hours on horticulture. In return, they give back community service. And so in education, it's not keeping flower beds up and beautification projects, but it's about educating the public a little more about gardening, growing things, identifying problems. And so just to kind of give you an idea, their volunteer hours just for Fayette County, if you look down at that bullet on the front page, the Fayette County Master Gardener volunteer hours were 906 hours last year, the value of $31.80. So they're putting back almost $29,000 of volunteer hours back into their community.
Where are they volunteering?
So I'll give you an example. One of their activities that they are working with is, for example, at the Oak Hill Library this coming week, they're going to be doing an educational workshop for the public on identifying pests and how to treat those. So that's one activity. The other thing they're doing is they're working down in Smithers and Valley with some school gardens. So they're teaching the kids about growing gardens, working with the school staff. And so those are two. The other thing that we have is we've established a kind of a community educational place out at Honeysuckle, the old Honeysuckle greenhouses. And so it's out, what's the name of that road, John, out where Honeysuckle? Terry Avenue.
Yeah, thanks.
And so they're working, that's an educational center that we bring people in on certain days and do educational activities with them. So those are just kind of 3 examples of where they're doing their volunteer hours.
You also done a project at the park.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, Betty Harler and Leah Thomas were instrumental in leading that one.
How do you guys interact with the programming out of the Department of Agriculture?
So the West Virginia Department of Agriculture, we work with them on especially farmers markets. And so we work with them to bring in some training for these senior farmers market coupons. So that's a program to where each county gets $20,000 to distribute to their seniors to buy fresh and local produce. And so we work with them to establish trainings to train our farmers to be able to accept them at our 2 farmers market locations here in the county. The one here at Fayetteville on the parking lot, and then the one at Oak Hill. So that's an example of that. We work with them also, their regulatory. So we work with them on like if a producer gets in some fertilizer that's not up to standard. So we get out there and get the testing, work through their lab, get that tested to make sure it's meeting the specs that it should. So they're a great partner, the Department of Agriculture is. So we do workshops and trainings one-on-one. I told you about the laboratory testing we do as far as plant and pest diagnostic. And the other thing is we try to provide publications and information to the public. And so here's one. I don't know if you all received these, the garden calendars. I'm here in Fayette County, Nicholas. We distribute the #1 in the state. We distribute 7,500 calendars. So these are great. And here's what I like about them. Did you get one, Greg?
I did not.
Okay. So here's what I like about them. So if we look up, today's what, May 14th?
I want to see if it's too late to plant tomatoes.
So it tells you, it's not. So it tells you every day when you can plant things in West Virginia. Like today you plant peppers.
I'm putting them in.
Okra too,
And
Cal.
okra, yeah. So that's what our calendar does, and that's why they're highly sought after. So it gives a kind of a guideline of when to plant and what to plant. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is the other thing. We're always worried about growing food, and then I'm going to turn it over to JR. I didn't mean to talk so long, JR, because we only have 15 minutes. Is we did a challenge this year. It's called the Grow This. And so our whole goal behind this is we made it a competition to get people to grow. So we want people to learn how to grow. We want them to grow their own food, and we want them to get active in that. So we did this challenge. So whichever county wins this Grow This challenge, we've got a small grant through the state that they're going to give us to do some improvements to the community. It's not going to be substantial, but this is a little packet of information about that, about the Grow This. And so what we did is we gave out seeds. So, for example, we did, I don't know if y'all want to plant some of these, but we did chives. And these are varieties that'll work well in West Virginia. Some lettuce. And we did some cucumbers. John, I knocked your name over there.
Oh, that's all right. I'm used to that.
Awesome.
Okay, so these are some things that we passed out for that. Along with that, another tool we used, and John mentioned this earlier, I'm throwing things everywhere. I'm trying to hurry.
I'm
Yes.
excited about the seeds because 2 of the 3 things I want to plant are in there.
So John mentioned earlier, these folks, we can help them because we know what varieties work well here as far as fruit trees. So we can help them beat out some problems. So if they come in and they plant the wrong tree, then they have problems down the road. We've already planted that tree at our orchard at WVU, so we know which ones. But this is other publication that we provide folks. This is cultivars that you can buy from everything from asparagus to watermelons that will work in Fayette County. Because we've done the research and tested them. So each one of these columns gives the specific varieties that will work for our area. And so people don't have to mess up because we've already done the messing up for them to see which ones did and did not work as far as varieties that grow. I've got to talk about Lauren because she's not here and she is a special asset to our office. This lady's doing great things in community development as far as community planning. And if you look on the front, and she's all about this financial literacy too, on that yellow sheet that I gave you. So just to look at it, Lauren has pulled in like $84,000 just for this area from the Farm Credit of Virginia's and another grant to do some financial literacy education with our youth and with our adults. And then she's all about working with the workforce for the future and doing some skill setting for employees. And she's also into recreation. So, you know, she was instrumental in this, when we got our status of our new property out there, looking at some educational things to do as far as the tourism and getting people involved with that. And so those are just some small things she does. Plus, on her spare time, she's doing canning workshops, dining with diabetes, educational programs for individuals to meet that community need. And so, you got any questions for me in ag? I didn't mean to take up all the time.
I do.
Yeah.
You said your specialty was like water, natural resource management and agricultural things of that nature, right?
Mhm.
How's our honeybees doing?
So, challenge. Our honeybee population nationwide is littered. Okay, so we've got problems as far as mites, and then we've got problems as far as, believe it or not, product that they can work and bring in. And so we have a law in production, believe it or not, for them to bring in enough pollen and nectar and whatnot to store enough honey to survive. So believe it or not, we're seeing some problems like in July and August of not having enough food for them to collect to bring in. So with that, we started this years ago. John and I were instrumental in starting this. We started the Beekeepers Association. And that thing, that's a lot of what we do is we get in and start a program, and then we back out and try to see if it's going to run itself. And so that Beekeepers Association has done that. And so it's strong. They're meeting every last Monday of the month at the Fayetteville Presbyterian Church. And they do an educational activity every month for those producers to learn more about how to keep those going. So with that said, it's all about the education. And so they're learning how to control these mice. They're learning when to feed them. But right now, it's a concern. It is. But believe it or not, your bumblebee is your #1 pollinator.
Mhm.
A lot of people
The
don't know that.
bumblebee or the boar bear?
Not the boar bear,
Not
the
the boar,
bumblebee.
the
Yep.
bumble.
Yep. The boar just drives us insane.
They're fun to shoot with BPs.
Yep. They're hard to control. So yeah, good question. So any others?
JR, you need to talk fast.
Well, I'm trying.
Sorry, JR.
So, I'm the 4-H youth development agent, and in Fayette County, we have 4 4-H clubs that serve youth 5 to 21. So that's what we're mainly known for, but I wear a lot of different hats in Fayette County. So most people, when they think of 4-H, they think of our camp. So our camp is going to be held July 7th through the 11th at the Fayette County Park in Beckwith. And we're very excited. We're expecting about 150 kids to join us this year. So we are continuing to rise, and we're finally back to pre-COVID numbers. So another thing that I also work on is Energy Express. It is a 6-week summer reading and nutrition program. We're proud to be at Valley for the 3rd year in a row this year, serving as many kids as we can. And we really try to get out there and do a lot of early childhood literacy. So I'm the chairman of the subcommittee of the Fayette Prevention Coalition. And through my work with Read Aloud, we've been able to give out a free book to every single elementary school student in Fayette County.
What dates are you going to be in the valley this year?
I'm actually going to be at Valley on Friday handing out books. The Energy Express begins on June 16th.
Run 6 weeks.
6 weeks, it'll go through
I've
July 25th.
participated in that before. If you have somebody contact me, I'll do it again.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get in touch with the site coordinator. We're always looking for guest readers.
Okay, sweet.
And if you have a chance, please go by and check out 4-H while they're there for the week.
Yeah, cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. And JR, when he was a child, he was there and he actually fell down the steps and broke his arm.
Broke my leg.
Oh, broke his leg.
Broke my leg at the Fayette County Park in seventh grade.
Okay, and Brian, you've been there, you've seen everything going on, so it's a. And then we have another group that's gonna talk to us here in a little while too, that does some great things, so.
We're pretty busy.
Awesome.
So what makes this 4-H program strong though is we depend on a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these folks in the room have probably done something sometimes, especially this young lady right here. She's pulled her weight in gold and helping with that. So that's what makes that strong is getting the community involved to help with that youth development.
Well, be sure to send us any, volunteer solicitations that you have so we can post it on our Facebook and things like that.
Excellent. Yeah.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting us.
And I'll tell you, I was fortunate, I got to meet Brian when he first came to town a few years ago, it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
23.
Was it 23? So, he's been a great agent for us as far as farmers go. So thank you very much. Melanie?
Good morning.
Morning.
And we're gonna try a little technology here, so if we can get a screen share with Brandon on my staff, he's gonna do some slides, but I tell you guys a little bit about Active Southern West Virginia. And it's a full presentation, so I'm gonna pack in a lot of good stuff real quick, but I wanna go over the why we exist, how we work, who we are, and what the future looks like for the organization.
He's live, you should be able to hear him.
All right, so let me share now. So give me 1 second.
Kind of
There we go.
Screen, Brandon, just hit that the top right, present. Yeah. Okay. Yep, so there I am, a little bit of my bio. We'll hop over to the next slide and get things started with why we are here. So West Virginia does hit the mark at having those poor health outcomes. So we lead the nation in the highest obesity at 41%. That's going to lead to those chronic health conditions, diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, and heart disease. So this has those increased medical bills and a poor quality of life. So I don't think that's anything new. But what I want to share with you is how we can make those changes and why it's important. So I want to tell you a story. So imagine Judy, she's sitting at her kitchen table, gazing out the window. The morning is still. The silence is broken only by the ticking of the clock. A year ago, her world was shattered when she lost her husband. The routines they shared vanished, leaving her adrift in a sea of solitude. Meals became simple and repetitive. Sometimes she wouldn't even leave the house all day. Her grandkids visited, once a source of joy, now left her exhausted. During a visit with her doctor, Judy confided that the changes she was experiencing were difficult. The stiffness in her body, the weight gain, the growing fear of developing diabetes, just like her parents. Her doctor recommended exercise, like walking and meal planning, but gyms and cooking classes seemed out of reach, both financially and logistically. Then a lifeline appeared. Judy's son mentioned Active Southern West Virginia. In scanning that program list, Judy found a walking group right in her own town. Hesitantly, she attended. A volunteer community captain greeted her warmly, making introductions, and soon Judy was chatting with the other walkers as if she had known them for years. A few weeks later, an email arrived from Active Southern West Virginia inviting her to an online diabetes prevention program. Months passed, Judy explored other activities, picked up cooking tips from the diabetes class, and cherished her weekly walks with her new friends. At her 3-month checkup, Judy beamed as she told her doctor how much better she was feeling. She could keep up with her grandkids again, and she was determined to live a long, independent life. Thanks to a few simple weekly habits and the unwavering support of Active Southern West Virginia and its volunteers, Judy is back in control of her health, discovering her joy and vitality. So as we flip to the next slide, we take a clinical look at what this work means and what we need to accomplish. We can see on the left side the barriers to physical activity, and these may be things
You've experienced when it comes time to set out that time for exercise, you're like, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. How about the people that say, oh, I've got bad knees and bad back. I can't do that. I might hurt myself. The lack of self-motivation, the lack of safe places to be physically active. What we can provide through the organization and how we look to coach people is through taking back that control. By providing those programmings on a consistent schedule, placing those activities throughout the rural locations, not just one location to people have to get to. Planning it within their daily lives, whether it's at school, in the workplace, in their little town. And then it's social supports. And these volunteers really help to make that happen. On the next slide, you'll see where we focus our efforts. We are in Nicholas, Fayette, Raleigh, Summers, Boone, and Kanawha is what we call our focus county. However, we have moved statewide with our Kids Run Club programs, workplace wellness programming, and in our race events. We now have 2 office locations to provide trainings for volunteers and meeting space in Beckley and Oak Hill. And then we have many partnerships, and those partnerships, just like the Fayette County Commission, Fayette County Park, allow us to program for free to bring those activities to those rural places. Other types of active places are private businesses, schools, community centers, health clinics. Tai Chi is happening right now at the Fayette County Health Department as another example. So we're in a lot of different places. And who we are, we have a very strong board of directors. We are a staff of 8. And we this year have those other partners listed in the purple. So the media partners, race volunteers, there are 483 volunteers with just the Kids Run Club program. Community captains, 61 individuals are programming this year, and a new online membership with 2,700 individuals utilizing that online membership to find the programs they can attend, and they can then record and register for everything they want to attend. So let's take a look at the past 10 years of the organization. Through those 10 years, we have been able to offer programming in 45 counties across West Virginia. Each of the graphs of the program areas, the community captains being the volunteers that lead those weekly activities. We have seen how many programs they've been able to offer, and we, throughout all these charts, see that dip in the pandemic, but now we see that they are bouncing back. So over 2,000 programs offered in 2023, 1,200 in 2024, but we're expecting still to climb in 2025. Kids Run Clubs, last year, 2024, there's 72 elementary schools. So that's reaching thousands of youth. That's a 6 to 8 week program. And then workplace wellness for businesses to implement program. I did sneak in one slide for our race we just held, Rim to Rim race, thanks to the Fayette County Commission's grant we received a few months ago. We were able to purchase our own timing equipment. So that reduces our overhead costs and allows us to expand that unrestricted revenue in race profits so we can continue to offer more free programming. So these are all the stats of that one race. Like I shared in the presentation a few months ago, all the races combined in 2024 provided a return on investment for this area of $340,000. So when we host a race, it's a great experience, but it is also driving the economy in the River Gorge region. A statistic I always look for when I check out these races is how many West Virginians were here with us. And of the 471 registered, 290 are West Virginians. So we love to see that. We're attracting
Your oldest was 78 years old.
Oh yeah, we've had 80-year-olds, and then they want their own individual board.
And how far did they run?
That is a 6-mile race on Fayette Station Road.
6
Top to
miles.
bottom to top.
So they're going uphill.
Yeah.
Big time.
20% incline on Burke Road.
There you go.
Okay, let's flip over the vision.
So looking forward, the future of active Southern West Virginia is bright, and that of Fayette County filled with possibilities, vast as the mountains we call home. While we can't wave our magic hiking stick and cure diabetes, heart disease, cancer, or obesity, we can continue to expand a safe place for all body types, ages, and abilities to stay strong, become stronger, and live a long life. Imagine a Southern West Virginia where every resident, regardless of their circumstances, has the opportunity and support to lead a healthy, active life, fueled by social supports and Appalachian grit. A future where communities are strengthened by neighbors encouraging neighbors, where chronic diseases are managed and prevented through accessible physical activity, and where the spirit of volunteerism shines bright. There's not just a dream, it's a vision we can achieve together. Build resilient communities along the way by continuing to empower community captain volunteers, expanding our reach to underserved populations, and fostering a culture of health and wellness. We can transform Southern West Virginia. One step, one program, and one life at a time. Let's continue to build this ecosystem of activity together for a healthier, more vibrant future for all. And with the many partners that you're also hearing from today. And the last slide will show you some contact information. So all of this will really direct you to the website where there's extensive information about the organization. Sign up for the online membership. It's all in an app now, so you can make a profile and pick what activities you would like to go to. Coming soon, water aerobics at Hawks Nest State Park is very fun and nice. Paddleboarding will pick back up for the season. Pickleball at the Memorial Building, along with high fitness and aerobics class. Tai Chi, I mentioned, running groups, walking groups. There's a cycling class at Smithers that has excellent stationary bikes. If you would like to check that out. What we look for moving forward is continuing to fundraise for certifications for these volunteers. We have funding right now to pay for more Tai Chi certifications, aerobics classes, arthritis programming. So when somebody volunteers with us, we cover the costs and help to advance them in a certification in an area of their interest. And we appreciate the support of the Fayette County Commission.
And if you enjoyed listening to what she just told us, sign up for the monthly newsletter. There's a lot of information. I enjoy getting it every month to go through it, and then I look to say, okay, all right, darn, I'm working here, I can't get loose, but there's a lot of things that you can do. And just go out and you see some of the volunteers, thank them for their time. There's a lot of folks that do that. When we had our place down on the rail trail, they used to do some work out of it, and it was fun watching all the kids doing the racing things.
Yeah, right. Next week we'll have a fundraiser highlighting our volunteers on August 7th. So if anybody would like to come out for a fundraising dinner event, I'll be sharing more about that as we develop it, but a great opportunity to support financially and to also meet the volunteers.
Well, for those of you at home, and you may not be able to see the screen or be able to look, if you're listening in, contact Active Southern West Virginia. You can do it at activeswv.org or info@activeswv.com.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.
It's Active Southern West Virginia.
Okay, Camp Soar. One of my faves. And I'm having all my faves here in a row. This is pretty cool.
It's not Brian.
Feel good news.
Great. Let's see. We sent over some data. Did you guys get this?
Yes.
Okay,
We
great. My name is Shelby Holt. I'm the camp director of SOAR, and I'd like to start by thanking the commission for their continued support. Your contributions over these last couple of years are making a difference in our community and providing our youth with an opportunity to learn vital skills over the summer. I'd like to spend the next couple of minutes sharing the updates we've made to the program, as well as some great data that we've collected. But first, a quick background for our newest commission member, Mr. Fayette. SOAR is a 6-week day camp for 9 to 12-year-olds. It's held at the Fayette County Park. It was created by Adventure Fayette County, a committee of the Fayette Prevention Coalition, in order to keep youth engaged over the summer in meaningful activities that are led by positive role models. The fee to attend camp is $75 a week. However, we offer different levels of scholarship to meet families' financial needs, and a child can come to camp for as little as $7.50 a week. Campers arrive each weekday at the park around noon and are provided lunch and then snacks throughout the day. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, campers cycle through classes that we like to call stations. Our 4 stations are Creation Station, where they do art projects, do music, theater, things like that. We have Education Station, where they'll do hands-on environmental lessons, STEM lessons. Recreation Station, where they get active by doing hiking and sports. And Relaxation Station, where they will do like yoga, reading, hammocking. We slip in some like mindfulness and coping skills there too. Each Thursday, we take an adventure field trip to allow our campers to experience things like zip lining, mountain biking, rock climbing, paddling, and archery. A lot of our campers don't have the financial means to experience these kinds of things with their families. We want to be able to share the excitement that's located here in their backyard in the hopes that it encourages them to maybe enter the local workforce or just continue residing in Fayette County after their education. In 2023, we solely visited ACE for those field trips, but last year in 2024, we also visited Adventures on the Gorge, Bechtel Summit, the Boy Scout Camp, and public sites such as Hawk's Nest and the water slides at the Cotton Hill Drive. And then Fridays are a chance for us to reflect on the week, compete in traditional summer camp games, repeat any favorites, arts and crafts. It's a fun week and it's filled with a lot of learning opportunities. We have gotten some great feedback from campers and parents. I want to share some of that with you today. 87% of caregivers reported that SOAR has improved their child's physical and mental health, as well as their social skills, which is crucial in this modern era. One of the recurring responses that we got from parents was that they wanted to see an expansion on the age ranges. So this year we're creating a new counselor and training program, and that's going to be for 13 and 14-year-olds to volunteer at camp. This will allow campers who have aged out to still be involved while developing leadership skills and hopefully encouraging them to become junior counselors someday. We're excited about all the ways that Camp SOAR continues to grow and become more sustainable. In year 1, we had 44 individual campers, and year 2, we had 65 individual campers, which is almost a 50% increase. We feel that the ability to reduce barriers such as cost and transportation are helping to increase our participation numbers. Last year, 80% of our campers utilized scholarship funds, and due to our busing arrangement with the Board of Education, we've already seen an increase in signups this year from some of those hard to reach areas like the Valley. And again, we really value our partnership that the coalition has with the counties. We appreciate the park staff who help Camp SOAR run smoothly. We'd like to ask for, I was informed that you've already committed to allocate $30,000 to SOAR this year. We'd like to ask for an additional $7,000 so that we can cover not only our personnel expenses and activities, but scholarships as well. The Fayette FRN is willing to house the staff payroll and other expenses this year, whereas in the past, the funds were distributed over the summer by the commission. Your support has been vital over these last 3 years, and we'd like to ask for your continued support for at least another 3 years so that we can continue to keep our costs low for our campers. And we'd love for you to come visit us anytime this summer to see it all in action.
It's cool watching them down the pond. I'm sorry, I like to go to these things. When they go down to the pond and play, oh, it was a blast. You had such a good time watching them, and you could tell the children had a great time.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts.
First, I want to thank everybody that presented this morning to us. Starting off with WVU Extension Brian and having JR here that deals with 4-H, because a lot of these programs tie in together. And then if you look at the programs that Melanie's thrown in there too, it's from children to seniors, with families, without families. I mean, we really concentrated today on what does the county have to offer specifically for children, seniors, and everyone in between. And this is information that we need to get out there. So I'd like to thank all of you guys again for coming in. Go ahead, do your question. I'm sorry, I'll get on a rant.
How are you guys getting the word out to the schools and the kids in the area?
So we have found on our surveys that a lot of people are hearing about Camp Soar through social media. So we are pushing it through all of our channels, and we ask the schools to share that on their Schoology page and their social media. If you all would like to post the flyer, we would love for you all to do that, help us get the word out. Also word of mouth, the more people that are participating. I've heard from members of the community, when I tell them about my job, they're like, oh, I've heard of Camp Soar. So we're starting to get the word out more.
I think it would help too to get the press together. I mean, they're looking for material all the time. I mean, just, call WOAY, call Fayette Tribune and get it out that way too.
Yes, definitely.
Steve Camp.
Yeah, Steve King.
Yeah, they came and visited during the camping season the last 2 summers.
Okay.
And you're gonna go from 44 to 65?
Yes.
Okay. What could it be this year? The request is for 37,001, I think. We've already given them 30,000. I would like to see us just go ahead and make it 40,000 in case they have more campers that needs tuition help.
I'm fine with that.
You're proposing a $10,000.
Yes, give
Is that a
another
motion?
$10,000 toward, that's a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And WOAY, just catch them early, otherwise I'll see it after the camp has started.
Yeah.
That's how,
I'll get
usually you see it, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, already happened.
I know Divide Elementary did send, I got my oldest son is in kindergarten at Divide, and I got a flyer yesterday.
Oh, good.
About Camp Soar from Katie Jamie. Because we also have, counselors and from Raynell Medical Center, their mental health therapists, they come to staff. They come and, they don't staff Camp Soar because they're getting paid through Raynell, but they volunteer, so we have, mental health services for the children as well.
Awesome.
Anything we can do to help the children, they're our future. We need to do that. So thank you all for everything that you do. Appreciate that. Okay, we have a little bit of time. Yeah, you wanted to take that break and go in and ask a question or two real quick and then be back for the bid openings at 10:15?
Yeah, well, I want to go through that.
Okay. Okay, let's take a break. Okay, we're back from a short recess and we will start with the bid openings. Bill?
I have that.
Need these.
Okay. While y'all are passing them out, I do want to ask as part of the bid opening, since it's gonna be a while. Here's the point system for these that are already, everyone's scored a 6 or above. So I'm just asking that you
Oh,
guys.
good. Thank you, whoever put them in there for me.
Yeah. and-
Probably tries to try to read my writing.
I would like to go ahead and approve these applicants. So I have to go ahead and get with Anthony and get all the paperwork, because it takes quite a while to do. all the Pictures of the house.
Has anyone given you any complaint over tearing these things down?
No, these are all voluntary, so they're coming to us, so yeah, these aren't.
I
These
know,
aren't
but,
forced,
I mean,
yeah,
Like I said, I'm gonna tear it down so I could complain. I mean,
no, I mean, these are definitely people that want the property down for whatever reason.
Okay, so we received 5 bids. One from Astar Abatement out of Charleston, one from Empire Salvage out of Bluefield, Reclaim Company out of Fairmont, Smoky Joe Enterprises out of Daly, West Virginia, and Witten Construction out of Jumping Branch, West Virginia. Just open and.
And you guys only have to do the total, you don't have to do the individual. The grant change their procedures.
Okay, good.
Because it's a total package, so we can't just have to read the bottom.
Okay, good. I didn't like it anyway, anyway.
Yeah, they changed it all the time. Saves time really.
put this together well.
That says sealed, so they can make that.
They took it literal.
You might have a letter up there on your desk. If you want it.
Aha.
Um, I have the bid for Witten Construction. And it's $128,300.
28,300.
128,300.
One.
All right, I've got the bid for Abstar abatement,
A-Star.
A-Star,
Yeah.
A-Star, A-S. It's I'm sorry. $184,442.
Okay, and I have. Reclaim. And its quote is 141,700.
Got it. All right, I got Empire Salvage Recycling. It's $72,000.
All the bids.
No, wait, I have one more I haven't opened. I should have given you two. I'm right. Thank you. My numbers are nice and clear, even if I'm writing. And the last one is, Joe. Please tell me you did the math, so I could go. I see a lot of individual quotes here. So it should be a paper. With the total verified.
So while she's doing it, you say all these applicants have at least got a total score of 6.
Yes. 143,600. For Smoky Joe. I'll pass all those down for Ruth. Whoever's taking them. And here's, you take this.
I have one, so you can get that one first.
Okay, and Angela, you need approval for all of these.
Yeah, so you just, vote for the low bidder and then I'll verify they have everything they required and then the next agenda you'll officially.
Or do we wait until we verify everybody has everything they were?
Normally on the points on this part, no, it doesn't, because somebody's gonna have, the bid.
Even if one is disqualified as to demolition, we'll go to the next. But we'll.
Yeah, if it's disqualified. But
It's not gonna
there's a
change.
two-part vote. There's one for the property owners and one for the low bid.
Okay, so the property owners is what we're voting on today.
Yes.
Correct.
I don't want to vote for low bid until we make sure all the bids are submitted properly.
Yes.
Correct. 9 is the highest
Yes, 9 is the highest.
on a points system.
And everybody's at a 6 or higher.
In this stage, yes, everybody's at a 6 or a high.
That's correct. I don't have a problem, no problem.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the list of applicants.
I second it.
Motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right. Uh, dilapidated structures, Gatewood, David Hilton, thank you. Hilton, I would
Come on.
talk to too many people.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah. So, I don't know if you remember from last year, I came up and asked,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, the Shiloh Mobile Home Park, to have the dilapidated buildings taken out. And I was requested to,
get or post something in the paper with the prosecutor's office, get something written up and post something in the paper for 30 days to identify if there's any of the trailers out there that belong to someone or any property out there that belongs to someone. Which I did, I got that. Here, if anybody would like to see them.
Did anyone respond?
No, sir. I worked with the prosecutor's office and had the article put in the paper and ran in the paper for a month. And never did get any response for anything. I've also got rid of a couple of trailers myself, and then had one hauled away. Just as I can do it. But there's still probably, I have about 16 trailers that's just not habitable, that we've been over a period of time running people out of them. So we've actually taken the windows out of them, removed doors off of them. And I've got 6 really good people that's still living there. So I'm just, like I said, I'm still in the process of trying to get some help moving these out of there. I think it's a good project. It's right on Gatewood. I'd actually went around to, and I know you may not remember, but if anybody likes to see pictures, I got pictures of all the trailers.
And who is URME?
That is me, sir. I had to put it in an LLC to kind of protect myself.
Are you the sole member of that LLC?
Yes, I'm just sole member. There's no, it's not a group of people. I'm the only one.
That just protect you financially.
Yes, sir. And then I've also went around to the neighbors, and did get at least 60 signatures here just from surrounding area. And if you like for me to read what I put or talk to them.
You can read it.
I'm gonna get a drink of water. It says, just by signing this, you pledge your support, Fayette County Commission, to support demolition of the abandoned structures left at Shiloh Home Court using money from the West Virginia Dilapidated Property Program in Fayette County. So that's,
How many
I
homes?
just basically talked to them about getting them taken out of there.
16.
You're talking about, you have about 16 trailers that need to be
Yes, sir.
removed. And you said that there were some residents in there. Are there going to be some that stay?
Yes, sir. For the time being, because I mean, they're good people. I mean, it is going to continue to be a mobile home park because that's what it is actually zoned as. So I've been doing some stuff myself to try to maybe, because I would honestly like if there's anything I can possibly do to help the people stay there. But there's that.
These are 60 signatures of residents.
Just from the surrounding, just from right around Love and Gatewood and out through Gatewood.
I'm trying to remember where this trailer park is at.
Do you know where Shirley Love used to live?
Yeah.
It's his old trailer park.
Charlotte.
As soon as you passed his house, right down there on the right, on the right.
On the same property that big,
look at these pictures?
there were,
No, I've visited the site. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, I've been through there.
And then, so that's,
Well, if you tear down the 16 trailers that are dilapidated, need to leave, what are you going to do with the property?
it's going to continue to be a trailer park. I mean, I'm trying to bring, newer, more modern trailers in there for people. Because, with, manufactured homes for, to still have like affordable housing for our area. Because, where we're at right now with the way housing market is. I think that'd be something really good. I've thought about doing other things that I go to the zoning commission, but as of right now, I think this is one of the best things we can still do with it.
Are you purchasing these homes yourself?
Well, no, I mean, people can still move a mobile home onto a piece of property. But if I can, I've actually started the process. I went and got my manufacturer mobile home installation license to where I can actually install a mobile home if I would want to, under my construction license. But I've also, to do that, I had to do that part even if I would want to get a dealer's license. And actually maybe become a dealer later on to sell mobile homes. So I could actually buy them, you know, cheaper if I had to offer them to people in the area. So, but no, I'm not planning on just putting them on there and using them for myself.
Angela, does he have to rezone to do any of this?
Maintain a mobile home park, no, because that mobile home park it's non-conforming, which is a legal term for grandfathered in, because it was a mobile home park before zoning. So if he continues to have mobile homes, RVs, he would have to do a special use, but
Mobile home.
manufactured homes, single wides or double wides, he would not have to do any zoning.
At this time, you planning any RVs?
No.
It would be zoned correctly.
Okay, I just have one question. So are all these on septic tanks or?
No, there's city sewer, city water, gas lines.
Okay,
Yeah, they're,
all right. Here, do you want to?
Yeah, so I'm wanna ask some questions of our lawyer in executive session about your case. So if you don't mind, we have one more issue, the shooting range. We'd like to cover that first, because we have a handful of things we need to discuss. I'd like to do it all at once instead of going back and forth. Okay. All right, y'all ready? I hope you're prepared, Twig. I have a lot of hard questions for you.
Sure you do. We just got some maps first.
While he's getting that for you, I want to thank you for Leaseways taking the time to listen to this, our proposal, and what we're asking the county commission to
Thank you.
allow us to do. Jess isn't here yet. He said he was going to come, but all these, everything that we're going to talk about is not a wish list for my benefit. This is a list that's been talked about between the admin who thinks that this is definitely kind of a need that we need to Fayette County.
I don't want it.
You want one?
No, thanks. We'll keep one in the, we'll keep one in.
Like this, yes.
So I know there's a lot being thrown at you and there's a lot of things that you guys might not understand the need for, so I'm gonna try to walk through that a little bit. So it's kind of a multifaceted proposal. I want to kind of tell you that, like, so I'm in charge of training for the sheriff's office. It is a very daunting task, I'm just gonna say the least. We are every time we turn around, we'll teach something for in May, and then maybe a case law or a new precedent might be set where we have to change our training, so we have to kind of go back and redo it, depending upon, you know, how that works out for us. We have multiple instructors at our sheriff's department. We have everything from lethal instructors, drone instructors, canine instructors, SWAT instructors, and we do the majority of our training in-house. We do it at home. So the minimum budget that we have for training that you guys allow us, I try to use that for train the trainer type classes, so we can send one guy to school to come back and teach, you know, 35 other guys the same thing. So we try to do that, and it's kind of we do that to save money and to maximize that. The problem we run into is we have no place to train. We don't have a classroom. Right now, if we try to do a class, we have to call the 911 center, make sure that somebody's not using their training room. We have to use a community center instead. We'll try to use theirs. Both of those situations kind of cause us issues because they're so small. So I often have to teach the same class 2 days in a row just to make sure everybody gets the material out. So that kind of creates an issue. And of course, you know, we don't have a shooting range. This has been a discussion amongst the county commission for years. I remember in '98, we had a shooting range at the animal shelter. I think our range was there before the original animal shelter. I'm not quite certain, but there was just a lot of contention between us and them
And the property owner.
and the property owner, and it ended up being that we were kind of pushed out of that. So that's kind of what led us to not having a shooting range. And we have access to 2 different shooting ranges right now. They're both in Raleigh County, so.
Are they both still open? I heard one.
Beckley's is getting shut down, for a new amphitheater. They are getting a new one, but where and when, that's kind of for the development. So we utilize Raleigh County's range quite often. But you know, when we go to the range, this is another issue we have. We don't train. When we go to the shooting range twice a year, we go there to test. It's a test that the state mandates.
Right, qualify.
It's a qualification, it's a test, that's all that is. We don't have the time, and they don't have the time to allow us to use their facilities for a lengthy training. When we do a basic SWAT school, we do the training at the 911 center mostly, then we have to travel for 2 or 3 days to a shooting range when they allow us to do that. So it creates kind of a headache.
Don't you also have availability at the Boy Scout camp?
We have used Boy Scout camp on several occasions, but again, it's at somebody else's will, somebody else's pleasure.
Well, and that's a pain in the butt to get in. They can't come and go at leisure. They have to.
That is the biggest problem that I see as a training officer that we have is our guys do not have the places to go so they can utilize their resources. They have to use canine training. They have to go around different places at the county, which isn't a bad thing. Like to say that, you know, they should go to different places. We go to schools, we train in different locations, but
I don't think training should be inconvenient.
it
I
should.
mean, it's kind of like we were talking about the gym memberships
Yeah.
the other day. I mean, they should be able to pick a gym that they're likely to go to and use. So get down to the point and tell me what's going on. Like, it looks like a similar facility at 2 different locations.
So what we did is in January, we went to the Girl Scout camp at the Beckley, where the county owns property, to survey the site, kind of get an idea of what we would need to do down there to try to facilitate our needs. We went, it wasn't really a bad conversation, but we were met when we left by several citizens that live right there that were not very pleased and very happy with us wanting to do that down at that location. And they were adamant that, you know, they were going to fight it tooth and nail. But the thing that I learned from them was a lot of the information that they were complaining about was misinformation. You know, it was, logging 300 acres of property and being a $5.9 million project. And of course, we're realistic. We know that we can't have a facility that costs almost $5 million. We know that. And we are trying to find a place and a location where we can at some point get all the things that we need, even if we have to start out in phases. You know, we understand that as well, that we may have to do that. But, you know, in the beginning stages of this, doing the legwork and this project that I'm showing you is a completed project, not a phased in project. So to make a long story short, Chris and I went down there and we wanted to have a second location to present to you guys. So you guys would have maybe a little bit of a different angle, I guess you could say, if we wanted to go a different route. So we started talking about places and we ended up talking about Anstead at the Coke Oven. Unfortunately, that property is owned by Imperial Colliery. They're willing to work with us in any way, shape, or form. I haven't had any conversations with Imperial myself. It's all been third party through Chris or through the mayor of Anstead. But the property sits just outside of Anstead. There's utilities that are a lot closer. So the getting things to both locations, it's just Anstead seemed to be the better spot for us. If we're doing a training, we're hosting out of another agency. They got places to stay. There's plenty of places to eat, and we're outside of the city limits. So it's just kind of in our mind one of the best places for this.
Is the difference in cost infrastructure related? Sorry to interrupt you.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah, the difference in cost is the infrastructure, and there is some issues with the existing right of way that we get into the Girl Scout camp. There's probably gonna be some core permitting we'll have to go over.
Well, and Ruth did the math about a long-term lease and that still wouldn't compensate for the difference in the cost here.
108,000, right? For 100 years.
Am I dreaming or is this number actually a million? I mean, is that you can really do it, this whole thing for that, or?
For everything that we're asking for, and wanting, with the exception of the less lethal house, which is, we call it less lethal house. It's just the training, it's a house, it's a building designed for less lethal munitions, just advanced tactics clearing. That's what it's for.
The site would be ready for it, and then there was talk about some of the towns in the county helping fund that particular building.
We could probably, I mean, I think this is doable. I mean, I'm not saying we have it all in our budget, but I think it's doable. I mean, we already have some money from, Senator Baldwin, and we have, we have 68,000, but that's still 68,000. I mean, that takes a chunk out. We could probably get contributions from some of the other law enforcement agencies in this area.
I've actually already reached out to most of them. And so one of the biggest things that we also don't do, that we do training with other agencies, because God forbid we have an active shooter at a school or a church. We train with Fayetteville, Oak
Right,
Hill.
you should train.
And so that way, if something bad like that was to happen, then everybody knows what we're doing, what we need to do when we get there. But that takes continuing training. I mean, training them together is, the big thing. So.
Okay, can it be done in phases?
Which one are you looking at? Oh, yeah, the whole thing could be done in phases. I
What are
think
the phase priorities?
phase one, the main priority would be the education center and the pistol range, correct?
Yeah, cause you gotta have, we
We
don't have. you gotta
definitely
have
want the
both.
pistol range. That's what we're trying to do.
The hiccup there is both of these sites are developed prior to anything going in. So material to develop this is what's being used to level this site out and that site out. Same on the Beckwith site. So the earthwork, it would be cost effective to do all the earthwork first.
To lay your foundation,
Absolutely.
to get it right, and
And
then,
then phase this.
then build your structure. Yeah,
Or else you're gonna spend more money. It's gonna be, yeah.
I spoke with Mayor Pridemore yesterday, and he still is very high on Imperial Collieries, that we can work with them. And doesn't foresee any problem.
Yeah, both Chris and the mayor both really appear to be.
Now, I'll ask you, because I was with you when we went down to the Beckwith property and we had a little pushback. But they, they're concerned citizens. We have no problem with that. Do you have any pushback at Anstead?
They've actually, the mayor and city council's actually been very proactive in trying to get us to look at that site. When I met with the Imperial
Yeah, I
College,
talked to him yesterday.
they were absolutely they want this site to be used for this.
what I
They
like.
want to see it. They said they do a long-term lease, 100-year lease. Probably somewhere $150 a month where it ended up being, pay once a year, whatever. But they also want a commitment from the sheriff's department to do like some youth education classes, like hunters education courses, possibly some concealed weapons training. They want it to be used. They want the public to be able to use it, but they don't want it to be a public range. That was one thing. He did not want the
He wants the
public.
public to benefit from it, but
Yes.
it's not,
Via-
we don't want to
via
build a
through-
public
through the
range. We already
sheriff's
have a
department.
public range in Fayette County that we can't use.
Yes, that was the stipulation. In there, it's not gonna be an open public range, like it is only gonna be used for law enforcement or classes that they have.
We can, I'll tell you, we can do something else too. I mean, we can ask, tell me what the other law enforcement agencies told you.
But so mostly it's just been general conversation, and it's been, tell us what you need and then we will see what we can do. So that's kind of where those conversations have been kind of laid out. But I would think, there are two biggest agencies, that's municipal agencies, would be very.
Did you talk to the feds too?
I have not, but I can tell you that Beckley, US Marshals, FBI, ATF, they all utilize Beckley's range right now. So like I said, it's getting shut
I
down.
think they'll shift that. Yeah, I think they'll
So
shift down.
Park Service for same way.
Yeah.
So we have other options.
DNR, state agencies.
So
Yeah. So, all right, well, listen, I'm excited. I mean, you guys did a great job. This is the first time anybody has come to us with a thought out plan that we could probably execute. I already have a bunch of ideas about how we can get the funds for this and where we could get it. So just give us a little time to try to put it together, because I want to talk to Ruth about my ideas. We have a chunk of this that we could apply to it.
Yeah, and you could absolutely start it and phase it in, and we've talked, this could be fine-tuned a little bit. I mean, if it has to be slightly
Well,
scaled.
I want
it
to see
can
what's going to be in
scaled.
the levy because we're taking deputies off the levy, so we might have some funding from the levy, might be able to pay loan payments from the levy or something. I mean, we just need to look at it and see. Yeah, I see you eyeballing me. She didn't like take out. But-
somebody brought something else up, but I'm not ready.
Okay, all right, well,
I have a question, Mr. Helton, you work for the DEP, right? DNR, okay. Where do y'all train?
Right.
Y'all go to Beckley and train?
And it's the same thing, you are always trying to get in there. You just-
well, and
Always a hassle.
I see this being open to Fayette County or certainly southern West Virginia law, people who are stationed around here. You know, who are working around here, not just our folks, and whether they invest up front or whether they pay a fee to, you know, to be a member.
Yeah, we are
You know,
missing
I think
out on
we
big
can figure
opportunities
it out.
for that. Being able to host trainings that, you know, we're happy to send guys for $500 a head. With this training that we can teach ourselves, we're already qualified instructors, but we don't have the place to do the training.
You can bring people in.
So you can bring
So-
people, that's kind of the same concept that we have.
Yeah,
Charge them 400.
Well, I mean-
per head.
I'm sold, so it's just a matter, now just let us figure out where to get the money. I mean, we'll be
Okay.
talking to Ruth right after the meeting.
Can you help us with these? 1 and 2?
Yes,
was-
okay, yeah. One is sheet one is the Ansett site. And then sheet 2 is the same site, but it's keep rolling. It's an expanded view.
Yeah.
I couldn't get all this in there where you could see it good. So Aaron and
So
Nick
1
put
and
it
2 is
together.
Ansted. What's
Yes.
3 and 4?
3 is the Beckwith Park. It's Girl Scout camp.
Okay.
So we're not gonna do
All I
that.
needed to know.
And the other one is an expanded view of the park too, just because the road is so much longer, we couldn't show it all. So
Your
so
plotter
guys
wasn't big
wanted to
enough.
make it
Getting
where you see
excited.
the whole thing.
Your plotter wasn't big enough.
Well, the plotter's big enough, but if we would have printed it to this scale, it would have been too big for you to put on this paper, on this table.
Thank you.
So they were trying to make it where you could see everything.
I knew you had sufficient plotter. I've seen your work.
And there's, you know, like I said, there's options on this, so.
Okay.
So. Seriously, Chris, thank you for working with Twig, and Twig, thank you for doing this. I mean, it's never gotten to this phase before. If we ask for plans, we never get them.
Hey, write that down. Commissioner Taylor said, thank you.
I said.
Good job with this, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all.
And where'd Seaford go?
What is it?
What'd Seaford leave? What did he?
You talking about sci-fi?
Cypher.
He was just here to back it up. For
Like, give me scallop.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that.
Chris? Oh, yeah.
This is your ad thing that you had to.
Alan, you don't need that no more, right? We good?
Huh?
Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So we need to circle back to vouchers and invoices real quick. Gia on there? Gia, did you talk to Jake about those ones that you didn't authorize? Yeah, she's on there.
He's probably trying to get off mute.
Gia said.
No, I didn't talk to him about it.
Will you talk to him about it? Cause he clearly didn't get the memo.
Okay.
All right, and the other thing I just wanted to point out is that it is our job to look at what is being submitted and see if it's which account it comes out of, or because of the budget, based on what the budget was submitted. Not the fire association's job to tell us which of our budget line items is going to come out of. I just wanted to make sure that's clear, but,
Hold on.
you had something about PAX,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Was PAX one of the ones that we said we were gonna pay off a truck on? Was that one of the 5?
I don't know, but I'll say this, I still think we should pay it off, whether it was 1 to 5 or not, because the objective was to pay all the outstanding balances off on these trucks to clear that and to get rid of that interest payment.
I just couldn't remember if it was one of the.
I can't remember either. Gia, do you know if we authorized paying off PACs in that last meeting?
I thought that you said you were gonna pay off all the ones that were outstanding. And there was
Well,
5 or 6.
there
Because
were
I.
5, but we didn't know if PACs was one of the 5.
Mm,
You wanted to circle? I mean, are you good with that?
Yeah, let's just deplete it. Let's get it
Okay,
taken
so-
care of.
I'm gonna move that we approve vouchers and invoices, and obviously PACs only gets 1 truck payoff if we already proved that.
according to what I have, I only had 5 different departments that had truck payoffs, and PAX was one of them.
It was?
Yeah, it was one of. okay,
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I couldn't remember if it was or not. All right, so we have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now. We need to go into executive session to ask our attorney
You want me to
questions. Yeah,
make a list?
yeah,
Okay,
please.
so we're gonna get legal advice on Mr. Hilton's matter. In addition to the Kanawha Falls PSD board vacancy. A order to dismiss an objection to an information demand in a lawsuit. Discuss another lawsuit, Tilley versus Fayette County, and then get legal advice regarding the tear down of the historic jail. So at this time, I'm going to go into executive session to discuss those issues.
And
Second.
18. Welcome back. We come out of executive session. No decisions were made.
But discussions were had. So let me get to it. Let's start with Mr. Hilton. Hold on, Mr. Hilton, I need to find my list for you. All right, you may want to make some notes. It's not too substantial.
So have one down in there. So.
Okay, so we have discussed and have not yet voted public policy reasons for supporting your request. Okay, and those reasons specifically are, we have a housing shortage in Fayette County. And we see your property as a way to address some of in that income bracket, the housing shortage we have. Further, there are public safety and health issues with those trailers that are still there that are being used probably by drug users and things like that. We'd like to help improve that part of the community. Plus, you had 60 petitioners, Fayette County citizens support your effort. We do not think you qualify under the REAP program. However, the county is willing to offer you, if you were to submit a written plan to us, basically telling us what you told us today that you were planning to do with your property. You're going to keep it for housing. And it doesn't have to be too detailed. I mean, we really just need you to, because that's part of the reason that we're going to make the offer we're going to make. And we'd like you to go to Empire Salvage and get an updated bid for demolition for the remaining trailers you have. And the commission has discussed, and so I am going to move that we fund 80% of that cost out of our, which one budget? Coal severance budget. And you would obviously have to fund the rest. And the way that would work is we would pay directly to Empire. And then you would pay your part to Empire. Okay. And hopefully that works for you. I mean, but there were several, I came in here opposed to it, and I know Commissioner Broman was similarly opposed to it, but as you spoke and you discussed, your countenance is different than the last time you came, which turned us both off, I'll tell you. But I do think that, what you said today, and I started thinking, okay, there are public policy issues to give you some help here. So I hope you do right by the citizens and create some housing for them, because that's really what's behind our motivation, that and health and safety issues of the remaining property homes there.
That was 80% up to 32,000.
Up to
Up to
32,000. Thank you, John.
Okay, up to 32.
Yes, because the original quote was 40.
Yeah, I believe that was the low quote. Came in with
It was
Empire.
a group, well, the actual Tom's tear down was 40,000. But Empire actually, because it was a bundle deal, so Empire actually was cheaper on yours.
But higher on the other end.
But higher on the whole group package.
Okay, so Tom's Empire, maybe just find the lowest quote. And then let us know.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to work through Angela with, you have,
Both contractors, I can explain to them what you guys decided, so they understand.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
I mean,
That would be helpful.
and just, and include Mr. Help now.
Yeah, she's got me,
And y'all work together as long as you guys work it out?
You guys need to plan before. You need him to send.
Yes,
Okay.
we'd like to plan before we fund anything. Yeah,
Need a motion.
I did make one. I added to it, but I'll make it again. So I move that we approve funding up to 80% of the tear down costs of the 16 trailers, not to exceed $32,000.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so next up, so we already did shooting range. Canal Falls PSD board vacancy, I'm gonna move that we postpone that to a future meeting, not to be identified until later. Probably just strike that from the agenda, so I'm moving to strike that.
Second. So we have a motion to strike Canal Falls PSD board vacancy. And it had a second. All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, and with regard to this issue on the order to dismiss objection to information demand, I'm going to move that we hold this issue in abeyance until our meeting on June 11th, 2025, or the next meeting the prosecuting attorney thinks appropriate for us to consider how to proceed.
Second.
I get everything there?
Have a motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye. With regard to Tilly versus Fayette, I move that I take the actions we discussed with counsel in executive session to give guidance to our outside counsel on that matter.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Obviously, I'll copy everybody. And then with regard to the jail, what did we decide to do?
Thank you.
We talked about.
Oh, the grant.
We
That's
didn't
what we're
decide, we
gonna
just
do.
talked about it.
There's no decision.
Yeah, no decision, but like, what were we, I was just trying to remember what we discussed. So what we discussed addressing out here. So the grant, what's the name of the grant?
The Henry Jones, Dr. Henry Jones, something grant, it's for, buildings that are in, that could be repurposed or be used for, public redevelopment,
Right.
which.
So there's,
But it's just planning.
Architectural.
Yeah, and it's just review and planning for potential redevelopment, or that planning would tell you this is not an ideal candidate
In
to be
our-
redeveloped.
and our match is $7,500. So I move that we match $7,500 and apply for that historical restoration review grant as described.
Second.
A motion second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, I think that's everything. John, did you see anything? Got check marks on everything. All right, motion adjourned.
Second.
Let's do it.